Every year at the end of August, Six Flags always releases a cheesy announcement video announcing what new rides will be coming to their parks for the following year. And so, as is tradition here at Coaster Studios, we like to make our predictions for what will be coming to each park. Most of the time we're wrong, but every once in a while we get lucky and we get something right, and so it's always good fun here. These are just my predictions. It's based off of clues that the parks have been teasing, because actually a lot of parks have been teasing what could be coming next year, but a lot of this is also just random guessing. So let's see how well we do. We're going to start with the largest parks and work our way down to the bottom, which means of course starting with Six Flags Magic Mountain. Now, they have not even opened West Coast Racers yet, so as much as I'd like to make the joke that new for 2020 will be West Coast Racers, I think it's safe to say that they will still get a new ride announced for next year. And I know I've predicted this before, but I think next year is the year. I think Six Flags Magic Mountain will be getting a Starflyer. But because this is Magic Mountain after all, it's go big or go home, I think they're going to shoot for the record of the world's tallest, which is currently in Orlando. We will see if they actually go that height, but I think that this will finally be the year that Magic Mountain gets it. Let's move on to Six Flags Great Adventure. And there are a lot of rumors going around about what could be coming here next year, but all of them point to a new roller coaster, which is very exciting. They've not received a new original coaster in a while, but I think 2020 is the year. And there are two rumors going around, and I'm definitely leaning towards one more than the other, but I'm going to run both of them by you here. The first one, the one I'm leaning towards, is an RMC Raptor. And there's some logic behind this. The first one is that there is not a Raptor on the East Coast. We have one on the West Coast, one in the middle down at Fiesta, Texas, and so putting one at Great Adventure would put 3 in America, each one in different parts of the country. If they go with this, I'm going to go out on a hunch and say it will be an original layout, meaning it will not be the exact same as Wonder Woman at Fiesta, Texas, or Railblazer at California's Great America. A lot of people are talking that this coaster that they get could be a dueling coaster of some sorts. Imagine dueling Raptors. That would be pretty crazy. Just the concept alone has so much potential and be something that the world has never seen, and it would finally give Great Adventure another side-by-side dueling or racing coaster, since the last one they had was Rolling Thunder. The other possibility that I have been hearing is a Premier Rides launch coaster. The only launch coaster in the park right now is King Dakar, which has this incredibly fast launch, so this would give them something not as extreme. If it is a Premier, we do have a couple different options, but I don't think one of them is a Skyrocket 2. I think we're going to be seeing something a lot larger than that, so I am not including that in this prediction. I could see them going the dueling route with what they're doing with West Coast Racers, or we could just see a good old-fashioned multi-launch coaster. But we do have lots of teasers going around from Six Flags Great Adventure, and I don't think anyone's quite cracked the code yet. Some of the teasers point to a ride possibly themed to Two-Face. That implies that whatever it is some sort of dueling coaster. Then there's also the possibility that they could go with some sort of monster theme with like a creature of some sorts. Don't know, it's tough to say. As for where in the park it'll go, all signs point to Looney Tunes Seaport, and that's because this area is old and outdated. It's time for a refresh, so that entire kids area is pretty much going to be gone. If I had to take a guess, if they have to move the kiddie coaster, they'll probably send it to another area of the park, but I think that the roller coaster will take up a good section of that land, and that'll just be a whole redo of that entire area of Great Adventure, which really does need it. In my opinion, Six Flags Great Adventure will probably be the one park next year from Six Flags that you want to keep your eyes on. I imagine that they'll likely be getting the best new addition. Next up, we have Six Flags Great America, and I think next year's gonna be a water park year. They just got Max Force, so they're not gonna go with anything huge, and they did release a teaser where they made it pretty clear that there's gonna be some sort of water attraction, possibly themed to storms. So maybe it could involve their tornado, maybe that's going and they put something in its place, or maybe it's a new type of ride from ProSlide. Let's talk about Six Flags Fiesta, Texas, and this one is a tough one. The park president has been teasing that something will be leaving. It is either Gunslinger Slingshot, Sundance Theater, or Lone Star Lil's Amphitheater. I personally am leaning towards the Slingshot being the ride they'll be leaving, and then they put something family-oriented or kid-geared in. I think we'll be seeing a toned-down attraction because the past few years have been thrill-based. This past year we got the Joker, then before that it was Wonder Woman. Those are big thrill rides, so I think we'll be getting something family-oriented. Let's talk about Six Flags Over Texas. In this one, I think we all pretty much know what's coming. They'll be getting a Mock Rides Power Splash. The rumor is that after Six Flags Dubai was canceled, the rides that were in production are being distributed to other parks. And so they were going to get a power splash from Mach Rides, and they're going to send that to Six Flags Over Texas, and it'll go in the Aquaman location. That is the top rumor, and I haven't really heard anything else of what could be coming, so I think that's a pretty safe bet. Let's talk about Six Flags Mexico. I think they're going to be getting a giant frisbee, specifically in the location of their Chinese theater, which has already started coming down. There's markings around it, and Six Flags Mexico always gets pretty good additions as well. And we know Six Flags loves their Zamperla giant discoveries, so I would suspect that Six Flags Mexico is the next Six Flags park to get one. Let's talk about Six Flags Over Georgia. I've heard a few things here, but the ride that I keep coming back to is an SNS 4D free spin, which is kind of surprising because Six Flags has been adding these for a while now. So you'd think that they might be done with them, but nah, I think Six Flags Over Georgia might be one of the next ones to get one. They've been teasing with some sort of plant theme, so that makes me think poison ivy. Six Flags loves doing their DC themes, so could we be seeing a poison ivy themed ride next year? Dunno, maybe. If they did get a free spin, I could easily see it going in the location of their boat ride, which supposedly is declining in popularity, so put a new coaster in that location. It'd actually be a pretty good spot for a new coaster. Let's talk about Six Flags New England. The ride that I'm predicting they'll be getting is a Zamperla Endeavor. We saw Six Flags install one of these last year at Six Flags St. Louis. It was themed to Supergirl, and so I would not be surprised if we see another one next year. I bet that Six Flags New England would be the park to get it. As for Six Flags St. Louis, I always make the same prediction every year, and I figure that if I just keep making the same prediction, eventually I'll be right. But maybe, just maybe, next year is the year Six Flags St. Louis gets a new coaster, which would probably be a 4D free spin, or if we're really lucky, they'll put a Raptor here. But I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves. I mean, as awesome as that would be, would Six Flags really do that? Nah, probably not. It'd probably be a free spin if anything. But if that doesn't happen, they'll probably just get something lame. Talking about Six Flags Discovery Kingdom, I think that we're going to be seeing something in the back of the park. The past few rides have all been stuff up front where they have that one section of the park where all the rides are just right there. This past year they added a free spin. Year before that was Harley Quinn, then a giant Discovery. All these rides are right next to each other, so I think they're going to focus their attention on the back of the park. I'm predicting either a family ride or some sort of new animal encounter or attraction, because this is one of those Six Flags parks that has animals. They haven't really done anything new with them, so I could see them not getting a ride and just some sort of new experience, since the past few years have been all thrill rides. Let's talk about Frontier City. This is one of the few Six Flags parks that does not have a Star Flyer. It is because it is one of the new Six Flags parks, and so they could easily market it as the tallest ride there. It takes up a small footprint, and this is not a super big park, so I could definitely see them getting one. That was actually the first ride that they put in Darien Lake after they acquired it, so I could see them sending one to Frontier City too. Talking about Darien Lake, even though they got a thrilling flat ride last year with their Star Flyer, I think that they're going to want to send another cool new ride here. Not a coaster, but I do think that they could easily get Zamperla Giant Discovery. They're really visually impressive rides, and Darien Lake does not have one, so I think that would be a great fit at that park. As for Six Flags America, I'm predicting the exact same thing, but it's going to go where their former Sky Coaster is. There's a construction wall around that site. That location has been cleared for a while. Top rumor is a giant Discovery there. I think that's exactly what is coming. As for La Ronde, this is where things get interesting. They announced that they're removing Super Menage, which was this terrible Vekoma coaster, absolute garbage, and so it implies that they'll be getting something new in that location, something around the same size. Now, this Vekoma coaster is not very big, and we have the old Green Lantern roller coaster from Six Flags Magic Mountain that is closing down, and it is very possible they could be sending that to another park. And what better place to send it than the bottom of the barrel? Give it to La Ronde. Give a trashy park a trashy ride. It makes perfect sense. So that's my prediction. I think Green Lantern will be going to La Ronde. They'll have to give it a new name though, because they don't use the DC themes at La Ronde. But I think that is your most likely option for next year. And finally, we're ending it out with Great Escape. At this point, I'd say just give them anything, but I have been hearing that there is a clearing going on by their picnic area, and there's a bunch of trees that have been going down, so maybe they're planning something big. I don't have a set prediction for what Great Escape would be getting. I would just say give them something thrilling. This is more of a family park, but they haven't gotten a new thrill ride in what feels like forever. So I think it would be a miracle if they got anything good. But who knows, if there's clearing going around, maybe next year is the year for them. Or I could be totally wrong and I'll have to make the same prediction again next year. But we'll have to wait and see. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down in the comments below what you think. And of course, stay tuned for the official Six Flags announcements. Any new roller coasters are announced, I'll be sure to release an analysis on them and talk about my thoughts. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time.